Hello everybody, and welcome to a new update video about the new BlazBlue Entropy Effect update. This update came out the 31st of October, so Halloween, a Halloween update, which isn't scary. Ooh. But this update has added a lot of things, so there's a lot of things to go through, so let's just begin. They added some new content. Sakura City has a new boss battle. I don't know how you fight it though. I've played through the game on normal and hard difficulty, but the boss was still the same. So it might just be a new boss for easy mode, but I'm not entirely sure about that. It might just be random, I don't know. But they've also added two new rooms, which is the Black Market and the Event. The Black Market, I have only gone to it once, but from what I understand, it is basically, you can offer max HP for a big effect. What I could choose for between was like, as an example is, you can lose like 60% of your max health to get 500 exchange points, or you could lose 65% of your max health to gain 9 revives. So basically the black market has huge payoff but also huge cost. The event is just random, really random. It could be like remove all of your bad entropy effects or the corruption effects, or you gain a random corruption effect, or you gain level up, or just can be relatively random. But they're interesting ones at least. Something else, so system side added new tactical tree categories at the category Tactic Codex. I'm not entirely sure what they mean by that, but after beginning tutorial you can select any prototype to play the game with. So now instead of having Hibiki be the first character you play as, you probably can now choose whichever character you want. And you can also add a feature for players to view updated journals in the game. So now if you want, you can see the updates in-game instead of having to look at the site where I'm doing. Combats, they have reworked the Defying Eye, so the tentacle eye boss, which is the boss in the ruins, which is hugely appreciated because of how boring it was previously, and now the boss is actually kind of interesting. They've also made it so you can use HP mixtures while airborne, and you're no longer invincible while you do it, but you can cancel it. So that's interesting at least. And now they have added super armor on some bosses. Basically that means, like, from what I understand, when they're close to death, when they're like maybe about 1/3 of the way dead, they suddenly get broken. At that point they're stunned for a while you can just wail on them, which is interesting. Makes them a little easier at least, but not something too special, but it's interesting. They've also now added a summon button. So previously, when you wanted to summon something with that you got from a tactical, you needed to press down on the D-pad or down on the keyboard or whatever you use. But now they've added a specific button to summon. So now they've also changed a little bit on how some of them work. Like for example, the ice spikes that follow you around and get summoned at specific intervals. Now it's a summon. So basically now you have a summon button you can use whenever you want, and they've also changed a lot of tactics when it comes to that. They've also added some corruption effects, and they also removed some corruption effects. They added the enemy, enemy intermediate 100, not too sure about that, but enemy chance high HP, basically they will have higher HP. The enemy treat butterflies. The butterflies that are the boss of the Sakura City boss, basically it just summons one butterfly that tries to attack you. They've also removed the enemy chance of revival, intermediate thunderbolts, and intermediate missiles, which are appreciated. They weren't really fun to play against. Other than that, most of these aren't too big of changes, just making sure that things work with how the game has changed. I don't think there's any too big changes on here, other than the fact that you're right. Actually, right now, if you can only have one skill, or how to explain this correctly. When you have, for example, skill burning, so like when you hit something with a skill, they begin to burn. Now, you cannot have that as well as something else. So you can't have skill cold and skill burning at the same time. If you have one of them, you have to replace the other one to get it. So now it's at least makes just makes it so that you can't have multiples of the same effect. So you can only have one dashing effect, I think. You can only have like one basic attack effect, you can only have one legacy skill effect, but you can of course still upgrade them based on what the original one is. But I'm pretty sure that's how the new one works. Mind training. They've also changed this totally. Now it's entirely different. Now it has 5 phases, which goes Night City, Laboratory, Ruins, Sakura City, and Space Omega. So now instead of having the only 3 stages first, and the first 2 being random, it now goes in a set order. So now instead of like, you might not have any of one of them, now you're gonna have every one of them at the same order. Which is great. And also, they've also made it so that the if you remember how the bosses were before, it's it's the boss that's on the first stage. God, explain this correctly. Previously, well, based on which part of the stage, like if Night City was stage 1, you would get a specific boss. If Laboratory was stage 2, you would get a specific boss. Now it goes. I don't remember the specific boss names, but the Watcher is on Night City. On Laboratory, it's like I don't know, stone guy who like summons minions, and in Ruins, it's the Squid boss. Sakura City has still the same boss, in normal mode at least. And Space Omega now is entirely different, as they probably say here somewhere. Space Omega, where is it? Yeah, now on Space Omega, you have now 4 optional bosses you can fight against, which are the bosses from the previous, like the difficulties that you're not playing. So if you play on normal difficulty, you will have the like Watcher guy on Night City, and then on Space Omega, you will have the like robots. But if you play on hard, then it will be the opposite, which is interesting. And now also, you don't need to win against any of the bosses to actually fight the final boss. But if you fight any of the optional bosses, then the final boss will get debuffs. So, for example, some of them are like 30% less health on the first phase, 30% less on the second stage, or he will be stunned longer in the second phase. So that's some big changes. They also removed the potential from the like roulette room and changed it over to the exchange room. So now for 300 exchange points, you can get the potential from there. You can only do this once though. And they also, other than that, blah blah blah. And also now when you complete a session, instead of just getting a random like legacy skill on your Evo type, you can choose between 3 random ones. So if you really wanted one, you can have a bigger chance of getting it at least. And hi Kitty. Other than that, I don't think there's too much other things. Yeah, and also you do not get any potentials from beating the extra bosses on the Mega area anymore. And they've also done some bug fixes. I mean, I don't think I've noticed too many of them. But that's mostly it. I don't think there was any other big things that I did not talk about. And a little unfortunate I did not add any more characters, but oh well, they probably will later at least. But I think that is it for today. So thank you all so very much for watching this. Hope you're all gonna have a fantastic day, and bye bye!